Fense Post.
Good afternoon, Grain Valley, and welcome to another, I'm going to say special edition.
Stellar edition.
Stellar edition of the Fense Post podcast. Yes.
It's gotta be something different.
And the reason is because people start a podcast because, well, I still don't know why we started a podcast, Matt.
I was really intrigued with what you were about to say.
Yeah.
I'll see where that was going.
People start a podcast because they have something to say and a platform or something like that, whatever. And Matt and I, I'm Jason Finstermaker, my co-host.
Matt Nevels.
And we are joined by a lifelong friend of mine, Roger Lane. Roger, how's it going?
It was good until you exposed me as your lifelong friend to
Yeah.
He was trying to keep that
Yes, the tens of viewers now know I and Roger Lane have been friends since basically I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my point to all that, we finally had to introduce you guys because you might have forgotten who I was, the tens of people that are going to view. The good news is your wife will watch this about 20 times,
Yeah,
Roger.
so there'll be 12 of you.
There'll be 12 of viewers.
We're great.
I want to talk about Roger, I want to talk about this stuff, but it's the first time that there's no real agenda for one of our guests, right? Every time we've had a guest, it's been, we want to talk about your business, we want to talk about this or this issue. I'm excited about this one because I just get to talk to a friend.
We're just three blokes hanging out.
Yeah, and I made the comment on last episode that when I told my wife that I was going to start a podcast, first of all, she said, "Seriously, another thing?" And I said, "No, I'm just going to, sit there and talk about things." She goes, "You do a podcast every time we have friends over."
She says that's dinner at the Finstermaker house.
Yes. And I know your wife, Roger, probably says the same thing. Like, I'm on Jason's podcast every day at school. So let's do just a small backstory, because as we get into hopefully some funny stories and stuff like this, Roger and I were next door neighbors since the day I was born, because you were born first. So we were on, this is old Grain Valley, people. We were on the newest street in Grain Valley. Our parents bought houses, the newest houses you could buy in Grain Valley, on Valley Drive up Broadway.
So
now,
you guys are like elite. You're like country club boys. Is that what I'm hearing?
In so many words, yes. In the Grain Valley sense of a country club, we are.
Yeah, we used to play in in a cornfield across from our houses. That now has been built upon, and we used to call it the New Edition.
The New Edition.
Yeah, the New Edition.
And now this
outdated.
town has exploded.
Just so everybody knows, the New Edition is the edition across from the high school that is 35 years old.
Yeah. Oh.
Around there, right? I think so. Maybe 32?
Let's go 30. Let's go 30.
Yeah, 30 is a good round number.
Feels better.
And so we were literally Broadway ended at our houses.
Yep. And you couldn't go any further. You went to the cornfield and hoped you found your way back.
Yeah, and we'd sit there as young blokes, sit there and laugh at each other. So Roger and I have known each other forever. Fast forward to a couple of years ago, I start teaching with Matt at Grain Valley, and Matt's cousin is Roger's wife.
Right.
So they've known each other for quite a while now.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
Well, I guess
my bad.
It's my bad.
Well, let's put Roger on the spot. Who's the worst one to know, Matt or I?
You got to define worse. What
Yeah,
is that?
that's a tough question.
I define it however. Okay, let's start with this.
I know Matt as a saint. I know lots of stories about you. So Matt's the adult of this group.
I have a PR firm that manages my reputation, so
Yes.
I keep that from the
Yes.
family.
And that he just slipped me 20. So
I have a PR firm that manages mine too. It's called the Glenn Fiddick Organization. I'm halfway tempted to go over to the Jameson Organization that helps manage my rest of my stuff. So, kind of off topic there. Really, we're kind of two old Grain Valley people. Now, Roger, since graduating, did a lot of different stuff, but currently, if you don't know, is a sergeant with the Independence Police Department. So I remember us at one point sitting talking, and you're like, you've been in a police for how long now?
Almost 16 years now.
16 years. So you, right around the same time, you were becoming a cop. I was trying to become a cop at, I think it was a couple years after you.
So, yeah, because it was about the same time.
Yes.
It was a couple of our acquaintances.
Yeah, and then, so I got accepted into the Kansas City Police Department, into the next academy class, and then they budget cutted them by like $5 million on a hiring freeze.
Really? So you were in?
So I was in. I was going to be in the next academy class. And matter of fact, the Kansas City Police Department called me for the next like year straight, begging me not to take another job. And I had an interview with the Independence Police Department, which Roger was a part of, and St. Mary's High School at the exact same time. And I said, whoever offers me a job first, I'm going to do it. Either I'm going to be a cop, or I'm going to go back into education.
Yep.
And St. Mary's offered me first, and that is why I'm in education and not a police officer. I would have followed in Roger's footsteps.
You could have ridden on my coattails.
Yes.
Just like old times.
Yes.
Just like he's always done. Let's be honest. Like he's always done.
Yes. No, Roger was always the first-round draft pick when it came to backyard baseball.
Yeah, that's where my talents stop. Backyard baseball.
Well,
What more do you need?
Speaking of baseball, there's always this kind of lore. I don't know if you're going to know where I'm going to go with this. Lore about Grain Valley High School, because we played against a very prominent local baseball legend, and that would be one Albert Pujols.
Future Hall of Famer.
Future Hall of Famer Albert Pujols played for Fort Osage.
Yep.
And you played against him.
We played them, I think, twice my senior year against Fort Osage.
And the running gag with Grain Valley alum is, who gave up the home run
That hasn't landed.
that still hasn't landed because it was over the tracks and nobody ever actually saw it down?
So if you're familiar with Chrysler Stadium in Independence, Jeff Pagel was a hard-throwing lefty, and he was throwing heat that day, and he threw one right down the middle that, honestly, I think it probably landed on Nolan Road, which is a good mile away from, but the running joke is that it's still in orbit because...
Yeah, no, I was going with orbit. Yeah.
I was playing third base that day, and you can't tell because it's grown back in, but there was a vapor trail through my hair about how hard he hit that ball. So, he was a man amongst boys back then. And if Jeff Pagel was here in his defense, he would say he hit a home run against Fort Osage that same game. However, we still lost by a run, which would have been that home run that he gave up that didn't land. So neither here nor there, but...
Well, and Jeff, obviously, we know is another Independence police officer.
And a lifelong Grain Valleyan also.
Yes, and so I know if Albert Pujols ever speeds through Independence again, Jeff will find him.
He will find him. And he will ask him for
his autograph for the baseball. Hey, Mr. Pujols, you might not remember me, but you smashed a home run off me that might still not have landed.
Sign this ticket.
No, so, I just, you like me, you grew up in Grain Valley, never been able to leave Grain Valley. Grain Valley just grows on you. Your kids go to Grain Valley, gone to Grain Valley. Wife teaches at Grain Valley. I mean, if you just were a cop in Grain Valley, you could be Mr. Grain Valley.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. However, I love this town. That's why we still live here. The community's great, whether Facebook says it is or not.
That's weird how Facebook dictates a lot of stuff.
Does, so, but yeah, we're vested in this community, and you're right. Some people will talk about this community in a negative light. We don't have enough infrastructure. We don't have enough business. We don't have X, Y, and Z. But this is you kind of once you're here, you kind of get to know everybody. You kind of get to know the ins and outs of the community, and we love it here. We love the train tracks. We love the airport. We love the speedway. You growing up, you remember here in the racetrack, here in the
We love the dandelions.
Yeah, the dandelion. I forgot about that. I did see a dandelion already sprouting. So
In some of our neighbors' yards, if there weren't
it
dandelions.
wouldn't be a yard.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the running joke. But yeah, this is a great little community. And I say little because we still have this little mindset. We're not a little community anymore.
No, and it's unique being a small community that's grown. I mean, we played Blue Springs South in football.
Yeah.
I mean, Roger, we played Blue Springs South in football. We
And played them well.
yeah, and beat them.
Yeah.
We played basketball against these teams.
You know, I was thinking on the drive up here about Green Valley, for example, and we're a town of 16,000, give or take. But when the school district we're a big school district now. I mean, the boundaries, school district boundaries are different than the city boundaries, obviously.
Yep.
But this is a big school district, and not only are we playing with the big boys, we're competing with the big boys,
100%,
and that's where, if you would have said when we were in high school, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna go. We were wanting to be Oak Grove, and now no offense, but great community, another great community, great
Yes.
school district. However,
And we were Oak Grove for about 4 years.
yeah, and it was quick. Like,
And then,
we went from wanting to be Oak Grove to.
you know, I always put it in football terms just because, you know, me being a former football coach and stuff, you know, we were Class 1 up until about the 90s, somewhere around there. And then we went to Class 2, and we were Class 2 until 2003, when I think we went to Class 3. And we were only Class 3 for like 2 cycles. It was something stupid.
It happened quick.
Like 4 years. Then we were Class 4. Now we're Class 5.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing what Grain Valley has become. And, you know, that's why I really want to bring you on as just another person that is from here, lived here, family goes here, kids, tied to the school, tied to the community, all that stuff. And just, you know, that's why I take pride in it. And I try not to get on the old, you know, the Facebook and read all the negative comments about our great town, because at the end of the day, you have a decision to live almost wherever you want, and you can move if you want. And this is a great community. And I knew the second I opened up Iron Kettle, you know, the first thing I did when I talked to my brother and everybody about opening, I said, all right, I think this is a great thing for our community. But we also have to understand that not everybody will feel that way.
Right.
And not everybody will be okay with the job we're doing, and we have to have thick skin. And I'm so dumb, I'm doing it again. You know, but
You wanted more.
yes. But speaking of thick skin, I do want to kind of talk really about, you know, your job as a police officer. I know it didn't matter what job I ended up being, a cop or a teacher. Those are 2 very difficult jobs right now.
And both of those professions are very similar in a lot of ways.
Yes.
They really are. So, you know, as far as being a police officer in today's day and age, the mindset is that the community is negative towards police, etc. And I can tell you that being where I'm at, I know for a fact that maybe the vocal majority or the vocal minority is anti-police, but the silent majority, which is anywhere from 80 to 90% of all society, is still supportive of the job. That's the same way with teaching too. I mean, you're gonna hear the
ones that are unhappy.
You're very rarely going to hear the ones that are satisfied with everything that's going on, and so which is a good thing. If you're doing a good job and you don't hear anything, that's not a bad thing.
Exactly. And you know, it's not like, that school district has a couple bad teachers. Well, let's defund the teachers and get rid of all teaching. Well, no. Let's make sure they have the tools, whatever it is, to do their job effectively. And then, of course, if, you know, not every profession is for everybody. We know that no matter what it is.
Absolutely.
And it's sometimes you don't know it for a while. Sometimes you fake it till you make it, and then all of a sudden it's the way it is. But you've been a cop now, what'd you say, for 16 years?
Almost 16 years, yep.
Clearly, being a cop has changed tremendously over 16 years.
I can't imagine.
So yes, there's a lot of things have happened over the years that have changed the way things are done. However, at the end of the day, you still have a job to do. You still have the citizens expect X, Y, and Z from you. They expect, you know, you to be there when you're needed, and that's every day that's what we strive to do is when we're needed, make sure we're there, and essentially the ones that are relying on us, those are the ones that we're looking forward to smiling at and shaking their hands, and the ones that don't want anything to do with us, I mean, they're going to be negative no matter what.
Right.
We
Yeah.
can be perfect,
Can't
and they're
win
still going to
everybody.
be unhappy with us. So.
Well, and I use this as an example to my kids or my coworkers or my friends or really anybody, is frustration happens when reality is far from expectation.
Yes.
And if I left the house not expecting to get a ticket, and then I did, I'm going to be frustrated. Now, whether I point that frustration at you, I point that frustration at somebody else, we need to make sure that expectation and reality are a lot closer together. And I know, for you guys, being a cop, 99% of the time when you interact with somebody, they're in a negative environment.
Right.
Whether it's the simplest, they got pulled over by a traffic stop. Nobody calls the cops and says, "Hey, I need you to come over here because I'm having a party and
have
it's so
cake.
awesome.
Come eat some cake."
And you need to eat some cake."
That actually does happen.
Does
Sometimes-
it?
yeah, sometimes
Okay.
people just want to just
Well, that's actually
just
fun.
be. Hey, we're having a good time over here. Stop by and say hi to people. Sometimes that does happen.
Well, obviously, probably.
It's few and far
Yeah.
between, but
But that's the thing, and you guys know that when you're going to see somebody for what X, Y, or Z, whatever it is, they're in need of help a lot of times.
Sometimes it's the worst day they've ever
that's
had.
Yes.
that's the analogy.
I didn't want to go that far,
No,
but yes,
we-
it is.
We deal with people at their worst on the worst day that they've had maybe of their life,
Yep.
and no matter what kind of day we're having, we're expected to be tip top. And 99% of the time we are.
Yes.
And so that's where, one of the things, I'm using an iron kettle analogy. I know that you changed the menu up early on here, going from just trying to get things figured out.
Yep.
Which is, as a business, that's a business decision. And sometimes when politics or culture changes the way we as police officers have to do things, we just have to roll with the punches. And sometimes it's not the prettiest, sometimes it's not the best, but we also have to adjust with what society is expecting of us. And sometimes resistance, it's difficult. Change is always difficult.
Oh, of course.
Always difficult.
Yeah.
And that's where I always try to remember. I end my morning shift briefings with to my group to go out there and make a difference. Because ultimately that's what our job is to deal with somebody on their worst day and try to make that day better than what it started off at or is. And so
And you guys have a lot of power to really make it a better situation
Yes.
or not. And like you said, 99.9% of the time, people are leaving an experience with you feeling better about whatever it was that happened.
And we obviously as educators do a lot of very similar stuff. We don't know what that kid was like in the morning. We don't know, did they have a meal? Were their parents not in there? Were the parents gone? Did they have a fight with their mom? Did their dog die the night before? We literally have no idea. And so I know I take it on the aspect of, if a kid's having a bad day, I try and talk to him about it. But at the same time, like you said, I taught the next day after my dad died.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you think those kids cared? Do you think I was going in saying, "Hey, by the way, my dad died last night, so if I'm angry, if I'm upset, if I get short, if I get that," just no.
You went in and did your job.
I'm there to do a job, and so yes, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all, I've flown off the handle on kids before because of something that happened the night before, and I just try and go, okay, hey, they didn't need that, they didn't deserve that. I have to be above that, and it's hard to do, but like you said, as professionals, it's just what
That's what we do.
we have to do.
Well, just like with you guys, teaching, yes, it's your job, but it's also, you both are still in the education profession because you become passionate about it. It's
Yeah.
something that you enjoy. Matt, I know that you have kids come back to you probably, and as a coach, Jason, you the same way. Like when you see those kids who you've impacted, that means so. Like you know that you are helping people. It's the same way with us when we interact with somebody, and 5 years down the road, you see them again, and they remember you because you were a positive
Because you helped them.
influence or
Yeah.
something.
Well, and it
That
doesn't
makes it a little
matter.
worth it.
It doesn't matter. how hard it is sometimes. You know you're making a difference.
Absolutely.
Like, I know I'm making a difference in some kids' lives,
Yep.
whether they want me to or not. And that's when a lot of the frustration happens. Well, if I don't care, why do you? Well, that's why I'm here.
Why I'm here, yeah.
Because
I care
do
when you
care.
don't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Roger, I truly appreciate, more importantly, other than a guest on the Fense Post podcast, I can call you a good friend, and Matt can call you a cousin.
A good cousin. Sometimes he gets me through the Christmas dinner. So,
Yes, I wish I had one of those sometimes. but no, it's just great to talk about Grain Valley, just great to talk about society, and I appreciate you coming on, for Roger Lane, my partner over there, Matt Nevels. This is another episode of the Fense Post. Thank you.
bye.
The Fence Post.